Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see the summary of The Gold Frame, a short story by R.K. Laxman. Modern Frame Works is a shop where they put frame to all the pictures. It is actually a wooden box which stands on shaky legs, and it is in between a drugstore and a radio repair shop. The owner of the shop is Datta. He is a person who is very quiet, wearing silver rimmed glasses with a concave figure, a medium brownish color, and he always comes there and feels very happy doing his work from morning till evening. He does not talk much and is a very hard-working man, and when his customers comes also, he will only give answers in 1 or 2 words. And he will never encourage any of his friends to come and have casual talks with him. He will always be sitting hunched up, and his place will be filled with cardboard pieces, bits of wood, glass sheets, boxes of nails, glue bottles, paint tins, and other things which are needed for making these frames. And sometimes he will be searching for the glass cutter or a pencil stub, which often gets lost. And that is the only time when he will get up from his position and he will start searching for it. At times when he doesn't get it, he will even shake his dhoti so vigorously that if the pencil or the glass cutter is there in the dhoti, it will fall down. And actually the way he stands and shakes his dhoti will even make the whole place jerk. The pictures will swing up and down. And he will do it like that, and once he gets it, he'll again sit and start his own work. And the whole area will be covered by pictures of gods, saints, hockey players, children, and cheap prints of the Mona Lisa, national leaders, wedding couples, Urdu calligraphy, the snow-clad Fujiyama, and many wonderful moments. And this he has kept so that when someone comes and gives him an order for the frame, he can ask them in which model and which size you want. And the customer also, he will find it easy to choose the model and the size of the picture which he wants. And one day a customer comes to the shop and he tells him that he wants a particular picture to be framed. But Datta is just continuing with his work. And this man does not mind it. He keeps on talking. He says that he wants the best frame to be put for that picture. And he has kept the picture wrapped in a newspaper. He takes and shows it. The picture is of an old man who is about very aged. And the picture was really very shining. And seeing it, it is well known that this picture must be a very old picture. That is, it should have been taken a long time back. Now Datta asks him, what sort of a frame do you want? And this man says, see, I want the best because I don't want to be doing something very cheap, because this person is a very great person. Now Datta looks at the picture. It is a picture of a very elderly person, and he says, okay, many pictures have come like this to him. Usually pictures of the grandfather or a philanthropist. Philanthropist means a person who helps people with their money, and a social worker. And this man also was with whiskers and a very big turban on his head. And according to Datta, many people come to him every month almost having a similar picture like this. And this they do it because they want to show their respect to that person, and they want that picture. And the customer here who comes, he keeps on talking about the old man who is in the picture. He says that he is so noble, so compassionate, and he is a very generous person. And he says that he is a very great person. And the way he says it, it was like as though he is chanting some holy script. And he says, if only few more people were like him in this world itself will be a different place. And he says, there are a few people will not agree with me, but they want to disgrace his name and destroy his memory. But for me, he is God, and I want his picture in my home. Now Datta stops him by saying, what sort of a frame do you want? And the man does not know what to say, so he asks him, you want plain or wooden, lacquer, gold, plastic, or just enamel painted? And then he showed all the pictures on the wall so that the customer can choose what he wants. And Datta heard him saying that he wanted the best. Immediately he said, see, I don't have any second-rate stuff in my shop. And then this man looks at the picture and he says, how much will the gold frame cost? And immediately Datta showed him many samples where gold framed pictures were plain, decorative, floral, geometrical, thin, hefty and all that. Now this customer did not know how to choose because he did not expect so many varieties to be there. So he was standing there for a long time, and looking at him, Datta understood that he did not want to do anything cheap which may disgrace that person in the picture. So he came and helped him and he said, this will be very nice, where the frame was having a lot of golden leaves and winding creepers. And he said, in order to please the customer, he said, see, this is from Germany, it is imported. Generally, these words will have a striking effect on the customers. In the same way, this customer also seemed satisfied. And then Datta asked, you want a plain mount or a cut mount? Now, the man did not understand this. So, again, he showed one picture on the wall, which was made out of cut mount. And he said, if you make this in cut mount, the picture will look more elegant. Immediately, the customer said, okay, then I'll take the cut mount itself. And then he said, he pointed out to one picture and asked him, is that a cut mount? And the man said, yes. And then afterwards, he asked Datta, how much will it cost? Then the Datta calculated the frame, mount, glass, all that cost and his working charges, and he told 17 rupees. Maybe the customer would have thought the charges will be more, but he was happy inside. But he pretended to be shocked and tried to bargain, but Datta went back to his work. So this customer knew there is no use in bargaining with Datta, and so finally he asked, when will the frame be ready? And Datta replied, 2 weeks from today. And then afterwards, Datta started his regular work because he knew customers. They never came punctually. Either they will come a few days in advance or they will come months later. If they come in advance, the picture will not be ready. And when they come later, of course, picture sometimes it will be ready, sometimes Datta wouldn't have taken that work. Because Datta has made a practice of making the frames only if the customer comes at least twice, because there are so many pictures which are lying unclaimed in a box which he has, and all these pictures are only gathering dust and feeding cockroaches and silverfish. So only if the customer comes twice, he will make the frame for them, because he will be very sure that the person will come again and take it. Otherwise, he knows that all the pictures will be accumulating in his shop only. Now, within 10 days, this man came again and he said, have you framed my picture? And then in addition, he knew he had come earlier than the time which was set to him. So he said, see, I was passing by, so I thought I'll collect it if it is ready. Datta looked at him and he said, no, you come as I said, come after 4 days. And this man asked him, will it be ready by Tuesday? And Datta nodded. And actually he was doing his work. So he was concentrating in his work which he was doing. Now this man showed his eagerness, and Datta understood that he is very attached to this photograph. And he knew very well that if he does not give him on the prescribed date, the date which he had told him, definitely he will be in trouble. So next day he thought first work will be making the frame for that picture. So next day when he came, he took the photograph from the shelf and kept it carefully on a wooden plank on the floor. Now he searched for his pencil stub so that he can make the markings. And as usual, the pencil was missing. So he kept searching for it all around, but he was not able to find the pencil. Only different small pieces of wood were coming there, and this made him irritated and angry. And finally he stood up and shook his dhoti, which he thought generally if he shakes his dhoti, the pencil will fall from there. But this time he shook the dhoti so violently that a tin which contained white enamel paint, which was kept on the top, fell, and it fell right on this photograph, and it emptied its thick and slimy contents on the photo. Datta was shocked. He stared at the disaster which lay at his feet, and he knew very well that everything was lost. He could not take his eyes away from the horror which he had done. Even his spectacles started with clouding with perspiration, and he was totally shocked. He did not know what to do. Finally recovered, and he wanted to rescue the picture. So he took a cloth and he rubbed it on the picture so hard, which made things more worse, because half the picture was peeled off, and now there was only half the old man's face, and nearly all the turban had gone. Now Tata did not know what to do, because the way he rubbed, the picture had come out in small pieces in the cloth, and he just kept both the hands on his head, and every nerve in his head was throbbing. He did not know what to do, what answer he was going to give to the customer, and he knew that this customer was totally praying to the person who was in the picture. He was looking at him as God, and now Datta had mutilated the whole picture. And since it's a very old picture and the man was very old, he was very sure that there is no opportunity to take the photograph again. And he thought what will happen to him and his shop. He thought for a long time, and then he realized that he has to accept the situation and face the man. Now he looked at all the pictures which were hanging in his shop, and everyone seemed to look at him, and he felt as though all of them were praying for him. And he kept on looking at the pictures, and as he was seeing the pictures, one particular picture attracted his attention. He felt that the man in that picture could almost be the same as the picture which he had destroyed. But the man in the picture was a middle-aged man in a dark suit, and he was tying a striped tie, and he was also resting his right arm on a studio property, which was like a fluted Roman pillar. But Datta thought, will I have another picture which is almost like the person who is in the picture, like a person who can resemble the picture? Immediately he started taking whatever he had, the pictures which were not claimed, which he had kept in the old wooden box, and he started searching in that. Cockroaches and spiders were literally covering all the pictures, but he did not mind all that. He took out all the pictures, and he was surprised to see that so many pictures looked exactly like the same old man, the picture which was given by the customer. So much of resemblance, because generally old people will look the same. Now what happened is, he had to reject the pictures which did not suit the conditions, because many of the pictures, the old people who were in the picture were standing next to a vase, or they were having a grandchildren sitting on their laps. So all this he rejected, and finally he got one picture which will almost suit the picture which he had damaged. But the only thing is, this picture, since it was very old, had yellow patches here and there. But he thought if he is going to give the golden frame, he can even give a golden tinge, so that this yellowish will be not that very visible. So he sat there and he worked it out, and this old man's double, that is a picture we had which he had got from the remains which he had, finally came out in a beautiful gold frame. Datta was very pleased with what he had got, and now he thought he should be bold enough to face the customer, because in case if the customer finds out that he had taken a double of this old man, then he will have to give him an answer. But Datta made it sure. He decided, if the man says anything, I am going to tell him, see, maybe someone else cheated you, but this is the picture you gave for me to frame, and now I have framed it. If you want, you take it and go, otherwise throw it away and go. This is the answer he kept on practicing all the remaining days till he faced the customer. And he was even scared whether sometimes, if in case, like he had come 10 days earlier, 4 days earlier on that time. So he thought, if the customer is going to come in an unexpected time, he should not blabber something or get caught. So he kept on rehearsing what the man is going to ask and what he is going to say. And as he expected, the man came on the said day, and asked whether the frame was ready. Now Datta's heart began to race, but he composed himself and he kept the scissors aside and went and brought this neatly wrapped package from a corner. The customer was so very happy and he kept on praising even Datta for promptly completing his work on time. And the way he received the picture also was very dramatic, because he spread his hands wide and it was as though he was welcoming a long lost person. And Datta took so much of time to remove the wrapper from the frame, and the customer waited impatiently. He just wanted the picture in his hands, and as he was waiting, he was praising the man in the picture. He said this picture is going to adorn his wall in his home. And finally Datta showed him the glittering frame and held it towards him, and the customer felt so happy on seeing the grandeur of the picture, and his expression was as though he had entered into the inner sanctuary of the temple. Datta held his breath and watched for his expression, and within a few seconds the customer straightened and his expression changed, and he asked, "What have you done?" And now Datta was very familiar with this response, and he was very thorough also with what he was going to say, because he has practiced it more than 1,000 times from day and night. And before he could open his mouth and answer to the customer, now the customer told him, "Now don't deny it. I remember you saying that you will do it in a cut mount with an oval shape. But see what you have done. This is square shaped." And the story ends here. It's a beautiful story by R.K. Laxman. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box. Like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe. Thank you.